Oh, good afternoon and welcome to Sportanarium Online Radio. I'm Lakey. I'm joined by my learned colleague Richie Rich, and I've said I'm going to get this right the first time. So our special guest on the show today is Bec Lady Luck Connolly. And hello, Bec, and welcome to the show. And thank you for joining us. An absolute pleasure to have you here. And how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So we were hoping there were going to be a few more of us on here having a chat with you tonight, but the lads have, as you probably heard before we started recording, we've got some IT issues, so that they can't get on. I think the IT issues are the user sort of issues, not so much.
Sounds about right to me.
I think it's the people that are trying to use it personally, not the system. But before I start, as I said to you before we start recording, I've got to give a shout out quickly to, let me find this. Where has it gone? Right, so it is Harry's sister Lily. Now, Richie might remember there was a young lad back when we were on Radio Willingdon that was calling in, and we gave him a happy birthday song and everything. I'm not going to do that, but his little sister Lily, it's her birthday today, and she's 13, so they're all freaking out because she's now turned into a teenager. So happy birthday to Lily from everybody at Sportanarium.
Happy birthday, Lily.
Happy birthday!
Bless you. Paige would be very happy. That's Paige from Twitter, Rich. That's her.
We love
Paige. She'll be pleased. So, Bec, welcome to the show. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. And I know we've said we'll keep you for about 15, 20 minutes because you're waiting for you've got some really healthy food being delivered.
Thank you.
Ready for when you get into training camp.
She's got the wine on the go, Lakey, as well.
The wine, yeah, I've seen that in the background.
I'm out of camp, boys. Shush.
But what we thought would be great to catch up. I mean, obviously we've seen you on Twitter recently, and I know you're desperate to get out there and have a fight because.
Absolutely! This lockdown's been hard for everyone.
Calling out a few people, but what I thought would be really good is if the listeners can get to know you. But obviously, I know you've been involved in some quite. You've been in the ring with some big names, haven't you? So we thought it'd be really nice if we can get the listeners to get to know you a little bit. And my first question's kind of an obvious one, but how did boxing happen for you? How did it all start out?
So I'd consider myself a fighter that's learning to box. So I started out in martial arts when I was younger. I've always fought from like 6 years old. And then I had my last judo fight and I got my collarbone snapped and my shoulder dislocated. And it was just at that age where you're like discovering boys and everything else. And I kind of went my separate way from fighting. But in my 20s, that really, really niggled at me that fighting was what I was meant to be doing. And it was when I got divorced, actually, you sort of reevaluate your life, don't you? And I was like, when were you last happy? And I was like, when you're fighting, let's go see if you've still got it in you. Because I was quite a good little fighter. And Swindon was a boxing town where I was at that time. And Paddy Fitzpatrick, he had his gym, this little Jamaican Irish little hub in Swindon, and walked in, fell in love. Me and Paddy hit it off, two peas in a pod. It was like we were meant to be right there and then. And yeah, absolutely fell head over heels in love with boxing.
Wow. So and when was that? So that was
2011, I think.
Right. Okay.
2011, 2012, somewhere around there.
And so you say, I mean, we hear this a lot with fighters, actually. A lot of them do start off in the martial arts, don't they? Doing the judo, the karate, kickboxing. That seems to be the way it goes. So did you have an amateur boxing career? Did you get many amateur fights, or did you jump straight into professional ranks?
No, so Paddy was a professional coach, obviously, when I went there, and he also had an amateur team. I just wanted to know if I could still fight, and he was real tough on me when I walked in there because he's just said in a recent interview, actually, we did day before yesterday. So you've got this girl come in, and he said I was harder on her than any of the lads because I wanted to let her know what deep water she was getting into and if she had the minerals to sort of see it out. And he said I went harder and I didn't involve her and I didn't give her the cushioning that he gave all the lads, kind of thing. And the tough love approach really worked because I was like, nah, I can definitely do this. And at first I did a charity fight first to see if I still could fight. And I stopped her in the second. And after that, I walked into the gym the next time and he was like, would you like to come and fight on the amateur team for me? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. really, I had a fair few amateur fights, but I hated the head guards. And it was just at the time they would just go in at AIBA, was switching to the other amateur thing. And they were taking the head guards away for the males, but not for the women. And it really got under my skin. And then Paddy was like, well, do you not want to turn over eventually? And I was like, well, absolutely, I would love that. But I didn't think it was like possible to get that many fights. Like the British board are going to be looking for at least like 30, 40 fights behind you. And he was like, well, if anyone can do it, you can do it. So I set about I was fighting week in, week out. I just wanted the experience. I went up and down the country, drove myself everywhere, sometimes like completely on my own as well. I'd like rock up and grab a dude out of the audience with a corner. But I just wanted that experience. And then 2017, he was like, you ready? Let's go before the board. And I was really nervous. I was like, what if they say this isn't enough? This isn't good enough? And they were really keen and they were excellent. And the rest is history. My pro debut is probably to this day like the best experience of my life. Like,
so tell us a bit about that. That's a question we like to ask a lot of fighters, actually. I mean, especially for yourself. I mean, like you say, you were going up and down the country. You know, you had a charity fight. You didn't have a massive amount of amateur experience. So how did it feel? I mean, your first fight was it Monica and
Antonique, the Polish girl.
So how did it feel?
Do you know what? I built it out. I'm very, very good with my mental game these days, because I realise like the little traps you fall into. And with that, I fell into the trap of, like Paddy was telling me, it was like a fight's a fight back. You've done this 40 times. It's going to be no different. It is a fight. But in my head, I was like, the pros are going to be different. Like, she's going to come out, like, she won't have two arms. She's going to come out with something spectacular. And obviously, I didn't know the business side of it then either. And Paddy was really upfront with me. He was like, look, this is the toughest game. And not only are you going to have to fight now like you have been doing, but you're going to have to sell tickets. You're going to pay the house fees. You're going to have to sell, promote. The opponent's going to get changed 20 million times. And sure enough, it got changed 20 million times. The weight went up and down. And I'm sort of thinking, oh my goodness, rock up on... I managed to sell. Like, that is the one thing. Team Lady Luck is huge. Like, the support never, like, it just blows me away each and every time. I'm like, why are these people out for me? But they stuck by me. And my pro debut, like, that I sold out, like, absolutely. There wasn't a seat in the house. And I got there and she'd come in. I think she weighed in at like 64 kg, and obviously I fight at 57, so there was like a big difference. And I'm looking at it and I say, are you sure? And it's like, well, we charge her or the fight doesn't happen. So I was like, no, the fight definitely happens. And then I was really, really nervous going out there that night. I was like, you've really done it this time. But the support was amazing. And I got into the ring and they announced 3-minute rounds. And I was like, we'd spoken about it once or twice. Like, wouldn't it be good to like do the 3-minute rounds, the first woman in the UK? But we kind of left it. I trained for 2 and I'm like looking behind me. I'm like, Fitzpatrick, you stitched me right up here. 50% more work.
That was 3-minute rounds you fought in that one.
Yeah. So it was the first professional 3-minute rounds in the UK. So that was quite cool. But at the time I was just fuming. I was like, you didn't tell me till the refs announced it.
And those Polish girls are tough as well, aren't they?
You what, sorry?
I said the Polish girls are tough as well.
Oh, the Eastern European girls, hats off to them. They are born and bred tough. Like, they're proper. There's nothing that isn't proper about them girls. And sure enough, she came out. And to this day, I don't know how the fight wasn't stopped in the first 30 seconds. I think maybe my pleading, because we had a massive head clash in the opener. Yeah. And I had a hematoma and my eye came right out. And this hematoma just... I can't even describe it. It's like something for the Goonies immediately. And like the rest of the doc like stopped it. And all I could do, I pleaded with him. I was like, please, I've trained so hard for this. I've done so much work for this. You can't stop it. And they let it go on. And like, it went the full like 3-minute rounds for the 4 rounds. And I did win every round and I knew I was dominating it. And then afterwards, like, they wouldn't let any boxing take place till I'd been taken in an ambulance to hospital, and my face was just an absolute mess. But I've never been happier in my entire life. And then I was shouting because I lost my tooth on the last round as well. I'd spat it out in the spit bucket, and I was like, "You make sure you get that tooth. I can't rot that look at all. I'm putting that tooth back in."
Brilliant. So all in all, then it was a pretty aggressive fight by the sounds of it. Then.
Yeah, she was just a really, really tough girl, and I was a little girl. And but yeah, no, some of my decent boxing that night, and nothing could make you move quicker than a big girl in front of you, will it? But I was just so determined, and the support I got. And I remember waking up the next day just like thinking, what is your face? Go to the dentist, sort your life out. But I was so happy, so happy.
And they saved your tooth, clearly.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a line in it still, but yeah.
That's the main thing. At least it's there. You're lucky.
And white.
And white, even better. So from there, I mean, obviously, tell us a little bit about how your career's progressed from there. I mean, obviously, that was your first fight, and you've been in with some pretty big names as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so it was the second fight. So obviously, I started out like everyone else. You want that don't you? You don't want it to go, especially in boxing.
Oh, they're obsessed with it, aren't they?
I'm a big MMA fan, and I love the fact that they don't care about that.
Don't give a shit. Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to keep that O, and it was your call, Christine Shergold. She went on to win a world title against Pink Tyson. But that fight, all due respect, it was a very, very close fight, and I really, really liked the woman. But I would say to my dying day that I won that fight. Like, I was buzzing at the end, waiting for my hand to go up, and it didn't.
You hear that a lot, actually, in boxing.
Yeah, and then I was like, that's your second pro fight. That's it. Euro's gone. Like, I was in pieces coming home, and I went and sat down with Paddy, and he was like, right, you've got two choices. Either you like stick with it and you say that was an anomaly, like we play it off and it's fine, or you just go for it now. You fight anyone and everyone, get the experience you need, and get your name in the door that you're a warrior, and it doesn't matter about the results. And I was like, you know what, time's not on my side, let's do that. And that's what we've been doing ever since. Like, we'll fight anyone and everyone.
Perfect. Well, but I think that's the right attitude to have, and they are. I mean, Richie say as well. I mean, in boxing, you know, they are obsessed with that poxy.
We've had the conversation so many times lately, haven't we? What pisses me off with boxing, excuse my French, is the fact that, like you said, Bec, when you lose that they tend to write you off.
I know, and that's crazy. You can be in some mega wars.
Did that, going back to your fight, did that upset you more, knowing that you thought you'd done enough, or how did you kind of deal with that? You think, you know, like, because we spoke to Rachel Paul, and she said when she fought Shannon Courtney, she wasn't sure, because Courtney was the home fighter, and she wasn't sure whether she was going to get the hand raised. So I just wondered, did it upset? Like, I know it upset you that you lost your O, but did it upset you more knowing that you thought you'd done enough?
I think it was that I thought I'd won. That really, like, was the niggler. Like, you can accept a loss. Like, I went no excuses at all, but like, I fought I fought the best in the world, and I'm happy to admit those defeats. But like, I was really, really poorly in the summer. I fought some Spanish nobody that on an ordinary day I'd have walked all over, and it was one of those, like, didn't have enough experience to go, you know what, it's not worth the money, it's not worth upsetting everything for the sake of your health. But I thought, oh God, I've sold all these tickets, I've got everyone coming, I need the money, I can't pull out now, adrenaline will kick in, and it absolutely didn't. And that loss wasn't like this one at all, because it was like, we know why you lost. I was annoyed at myself. But with that one, I was just like, oh my God, that's my career, and this is a ref's decision. This is, it was really good.
Yeah, but you're obviously doing something, right? Because you do sell tickets, don't you? When crowds are allowed in. So
well, this is the thing. Like, this is what I've been trying. Like, obviously, I've been trying to push Eddie Hearn this week. Big Hearn fan, because he's got balls, isn't he? He always goes after the money fights, and he's not afraid to say how it is, and I like that. But at the same time, everybody's out for themselves, aren't they? And I'm certainly in that boat, and I do sell tickets and I do pull in a crowd, and I do have a good fan base. So you got to push what you got.
You're a tough fighter, aren't you?
Well, that's clear from your record, to be honest. I mean, obviously we do a little bit of research before we start speaking to people. We don't just.
I think that's my selling point now. It's like, not only do I put in the crowd, like I was trying to say, like, but you're guaranteed entertainment. Maybe we're not in it for the, like, you can't guarantee the wins, can you? You absolutely can't. Like Ellie Scottney, we knew what we was up against. We knew how fantastic she was going to be. But I'll be damned if the bookies are like going out the second round. I was like, yeah, we'll see about that.
But aside from all, as well, it's the experience you're getting along the way. I mean, you haven't had professional, like you say, you haven't had a massive amateur background. You've had 11 fights as a pro you've had?
Yeah.
I'm not being funny, without sounding, this isn't a rude, but you're still quite green, right? You're still learning,
Oh, absolutely. Like, so I would always say, like, I'm learning on the job, but it's an apprenticeship for me. Like, completely.
It was the guy, oh God, his name's gone out of my head. Do you remember the Road Warrior? What was his name, Rich? He fought Jones.
Right.
No, fought James. Sorry, mate.
Glenn Johnson.
Yes, Glenn Johnson. Do you remember when he won the world title? He had something, they were writing him off. He's like, he was another guy.
Do you know what? My coach, Paddy, I know I've changed coaches now. That's a completely different story. But Paddy, I'm his little Mexican in the gym. And it's always been like, you get the Mexican fighters, don't you? They've done like 40, 60, 80-odd fights. Yeah. They come in and smash a world title out, and he's like, you're my little Mexican. That's what you're going to do.
And I suppose the other thing with the women's fight game is there's not that depth out there at the minute, is there?
It's growing massively. Yeah. And how I see it at the moment is like, you've got the top girls who I've been fortunate enough to fight.
Yeah.
And I kind of see myself in a gatekeeper kind of position at the moment. Like, and I don't want to see people get those shots before they've come through the gates. And I kind of think I hold that at the moment. And you've got to get past me if you want a shot at the top of the pros. And obviously I'm still endeavouring to get better and better and better. And I want a shot at it as well. But I do think I've earned my sort of keeper place, and that people do have to come through me. That it's not a scholarship, if you like. Swerve economy fight.
Like a scholarship, isn't it?
Yeah, it is like a scholarship, exactly that. And you've earned your place to be there, and it's only right that maybe the up and comers have to get, face you to move on, kind of thing. But hopefully, I mean, like I say, that experience you've gained. I mean, looking at your record, you thought, obviously, you said Ellie Scott. You've been in with Rachel Ball.
Yeah, so that was, and again, that was for the Commonwealth back in Swindon, and it was a close, like I was happy with her to get the win, but that was not the score at all. It was a very, very close fight, a very, very entertaining fight. I was proud to walk out of that. I didn't know whose hand was going up at the end, but again, absolutely happy to bow down to Rachel because she's a fabulous girl. Like, she's a top jaw girl and nice person as well. Can't rate her highly enough. You don't mind those kind of decisions. They're absolutely fine. But like an entertaining fight, and I know that I really want the Commonwealth. That's what I want to walk out of boxing with. That was always my goal. And yeah,
so would you be looking to fight obviously you've got the Carly Skelly and Amy Timlin rematch that's coming up in February.
What are they? Bantamweight they're doing, are they?
Super bantam they're doing. Commonwealth super, because you're feather, is that right?
I'm feather, but I know I can get to bantam, and I know I can fight easily at super feather. When I was fighting like Jonas and that at lightweight, I was like, oh, these girls are big. Yeah.
I mean, they are. It's funny how just that few, that there's not weight wise, when you read it you think, oh, that's nothing, but then I'm sure physicality wise
the difference as well, like, don't get me wrong, no one likes a weight cut, no one likes to be starving hungry, but I'm in such better shape at the lower weights, whereas like the night before that fight and that weigh-in, I mean, I was eating pasta, I was eating pizza. I was going up to the weight rather than like cutting anything off. And it's like, you're not moving right. You've got too much carbohydrate in you. It's not for me.
Yeah, not the best prep. So your ideal weight. So for you, ideally, then you're sort of super bantam featherweight. That would be your ideal.
Yeah. Featherweight suits me down to the ground, but as I say, super bantam's not a problem to hit. And bantam, like I'd be a grouch at home, but
hungry.
No wine and burgers. No wine and burgers.
No wine and burgers from then on. Yeah, not for the bantam weight. So I mean, like I say, you've been quite vocal on Twitter the last few weeks, you know. But who would you like to fight if Eddie Hearn was sat in front of you, and you know you could say to him, right, this is who I want. I mean, you've been calling out Ebony Bridges, I believe.
Yeah, I did. My manager Al Siesta, like I've been chatting to him, and I've been saying, look, we, and he is trying really hard, bless him. And I've got all the time in the world for Al, but COVID's hit everyone. There isn't the small hall boxing anymore, so I have to get the big shows. Like there's no choice, there's no two ways about it, and I think I've earned that right as well. And it's like, I think that's a good fight to have, because Ebony's been quite vocal in the fact that she's happy to come over to the UK for a length of time, not just for a fight. And like the fans were saying, the proposal is to put her in with the winner of Courtney Ball for the it's the world, isn't it? But make her fight for that position first. Like the Commonwealth should come first, in my opinion. And I think that's a great setup. And what a entertaining 10-round fight to have on any card is like filler. Like absolutely, it makes business sense as well. And if she's willing to stay over in the UK, and then if whoever does win out of the Ball and Courtney fight, whoever wins the Commonwealth gets that shot. So yeah, I'm going to keep pushing that. There's other women in my division that are able to do that as well, but I'm out for myself.
No, totally.
I've got a family to feed, and this is my job. And you only get so many shots, don't you? You've got to promote yourself.
And the thing is with Ebony, she's built her profile on social media and stuff like that, so she's quite well known. And if you two did fight, it would do a lot.
Hats off to the woman, because it might be a completely different type of woman to me, but she's used what's at her disposal. She's not a dumb woman in any way, shape or form, and she's done very well to build that following up, and it's very niche. And I just think the things we both bring to the table, it would be quite a good fight to promote and sell.
But you're definitely both personalities. That shines out just from talking to you here. You know, you're bubbly. You know, obviously, you know what you want. And style-wise, do you think it would be a really good fight stylistically?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a scrapper, aren't I? Like, I just like a good scrap. But having said that, you know, my coaches for years and years and years, they're like, you can box, you can absolutely box, and I've got to draw myself back out of the fun, really. I kind of go into meditation when I'm doing it, because I absolutely love it and I get completely lost in it.
So Eddie Hearn, if you do watch this video, pick up the phone.
Get on the
phone. Absolutely. I'm a big Eddie Hearn fan, and I would love to go and fight on Matchroom. And yeah, that'd be great.
You've sold it to us anyway, so
definitely.
I think that would be a really good fight. And like you say, you know, she should have a fight really before she fights for the world.
I think people want to see it, definitely. I know Twitter was on about a couple of other fighters, but I just think between the pair of us, we've got enough differences and similarities that we'd sell the fight for. And let's face it, who cares why you're on that stage, as long as you get on that stage and show what you're about. And I think we're both warriors at the end of the day, so it'll be a good fight.
All of you are. Everyone,
all of you. The women's boxing is outshining the men's boxing. Let's be. I mean, we're real advocates for women's boxing.
Oh my goodness! I went and actually, like, when I finished boxing, I definitely want to go into commentating now. I had so much fun doing it. I was like, yeah, this is definitely for me. But I got to go up and commentate for DAZN on the Rachel Ball fight and the Katie Taylor fight and everything.
Awesome.
It was just like, at one point I was like, I think she's just thrown a 32 punch combination. That's just madness, isn't it? I'm struggling with 6, and there's Big Taylor like whacking out 32s like it's nothing.
She's crazy. What she's done for women's boxing.
You commentate like a fan. That's proper. That's real life. You
Proper
commentate like
boxing.
a fan.
Yeah, proper commentary. Commentating like a fan's the best way to do it, I think. When you get some of these commentators
to do that.
You say you did that on DAZN, yeah?
Yeah, really.
Thank Christ.
They have said I can go back, so I'm hoping we'll get another shot. But,
let's hope so, because I listened to the DAZN commentary on, was it Bec Connolly fought?
Don't get me started.
Oh, mate. He thought, Jesus Christ, the commentary was like awful. And I remember sitting there thinking they need to concentrate and get some decent commentators on there, you know?
I was so nervous when I got there. I wasn't expecting to be at all, because I think when you fight, like you reach a depth of nerves that nothing else sort of matches. And I got there and I thought, oh, what if I don't know anything about boxing all of a sudden? And then I was like, what if you don't know how to speak? And then the first fight came on and I was like, absolutely fine.
You just had a couple of glasses of wine and a burger and you felt fine.
Allowed. You had to go through a COVID tunnel and sit there all sterile.
Oh, no. So you'll be glad when that's all over.
Oh, yeah.
Before we let you go.
Crowds.
Oh, that was my next question. I mean, you must have seen it yourself when you've been, recently been to fights, commentate. How is it in there with no crowds around? You think that's proving really difficult?
I think hats off to them that they've managed to do it, but I hated it. Like, I thrive off the atmosphere and the vibes, and just like when you're fighting as well, like for me, the energy, like when you're caught, like when you're in the tear up and the crowd's going wild, that boosts you. And just it was eerie, like especially the ring walk. For me, the ring walk was the worst bit. I remember like the dude that was like timing me, telling me when to go on, so it's dead silent, there's no one around. I'm thinking, are these cameras rolling? Am I on Sky Sports right now? And then I hear shadow box, and I'm like, what now? And then I'm like, oh, I'm like, this is the most awkward grandma dance I've ever done in my life. And he's like, walk now. I was like, there's no music. He's like, it's playing on TV. I was like, oh.
Oh no! See, that's what I mean.
Waiting for was the little director with his little clippy thing to go, action.
Oh.
Yeah, really surreal, really surreal, and I did not enjoy it one bit. But as I say, once the fight's going, fight's a fight, so that's excellent. But
you must be able to hear what the other corner's saying as well, can't you? I mean, if you're sat on your stool in the corner, your opponent's across from you, you must be able to hear their corner people chatting to them as well.
I've got really terrible hearing anyway, and it was my first fight with my new coach as well. So he's a lot quieter than my old coach. So it didn't really affect too much with that. But I think, yeah, it'll be next time. I don't know whether they're planning on bringing back small crowds for the next sort of lot from March onwards. I don't know.
Hope. Even if it's like AJ,
they're going to make an announcement, didn't they, in the next few weeks? I think a few announcements will come out. But the good thing for us as fans watching at home is you can hear everything the corners are saying.
Yeah, that's true.
What I mean? Which is good. It's good
that's
like
been
that.
quite interesting, hasn't it? Like,
I'd rather have a crowd over that any day of the week. So.
Yeah, no, the crowds, football, all the sports, football, boxing, all of it. The crowds are what make the sport for the participants. I'm sure, when you're in that ring, and like you say, you've got a big following. So if you're in there having a big fight, and your crowd's behind you, your fans, that probably gives you a push on, doesn't it?
Sometimes, especially when I'm fighting at home, like it is the decider in the fight. It just gives you that extra bit of energy. Like it's all energy, isn't it? It's all mental. Like the whole fight's mental. So anything that boosts that is a bonus. Definitely.
And before we let you go, because we know you want to get and eat your food, you're going to work, you're tired, you're hungry, and we don't want to get you hangry because it sounds like you get very, very upset.
Yeah, I'm not messing about with you.
No, I'll say I'm glad this is over the Zoom if you're hangry. But how did the nickname Lady Luck come around before we let you go? Because obviously we did mention it before that we started recording. Just interested to know how you got that name.
Oh, yeah. So like I said, I was a Fitzpatrick's fighter, and Paddy just all of a sudden like names you out of absolutely nowhere. And I have, and to this day, like it's kind of comical. It is comical, and I do laugh. I've got a good sense of humour because I am the unluckiest person. If something can go wrong, and like really, like not even major things, although they definitely do, but just like everyday annoying little things, if it's a 1 in a million possibility, it will definitely happen to me. If it's a choice of 2 outcomes and one's unlucky, the unlucky one will definitely happen to me. And it was picked up pretty quick when I joined the gym, and it was like, oh, Lady Luck. And I was like, oh, like Bec's fine. Let's just call me Bec. And then I was, it was about a month later, and I was flipping some army maps, and they're huge maps. And he was like, oh, we've got your ring name, Flipper. I was like, oh, Lady Luck is already on my shorts. Like, I've already got it so funny. Like, it's fine. And Lady Luck has been ever since.
Better than Flipper, definitely better than Flipper. Again, just quickly, what's the affiliation with the army? I saw, is it the Riflemen's or something that I saw?
Yeah, so I'm Rifles. So in 2017, they made the decision in 2018 to let women fight frontline for the first time in close combat roles. So in the December 2018, they did all that women could go and train and try and pass the infantry testing. And yeah, it was quite the endeavour. And I wasn't, how should we say, it's worked out really well now. The men are completely accepting of me. My team and my unit are absolutely brilliant, and they know that I've got their back, and I'm not there to spoil like their boys club or anything like that, and I'm well able to fight. But to start with, I mean, the history of the British Army, there's no women. Like, it is a man's role, and I completely understood that, and I wasn't all that welcome from everyone. And there was a lot of people with really strong views about women not fighting frontline. And it was a little bit uncomfortable for a little while. But as I say, like on the ground, the blokes kind of got used to me, and they're like, oh, Connolly's not going to be a problem. It's absolutely fine. And yeah, the rest is history.
And that's it. So, I mean, that must help with your boxing as well, though, doesn't it? The fitness side of that, Christ.
Yeah, I think the boxing fitness definitely helps, because I'm trying to get them lot moving. But yeah, it's the mentality, I think, more than anything. It's definitely strengthened my mentality. I'd say my mental strength is probably my biggest asset anyway. As much as I break down hugely, I've just got no quit in me. And the army kind of tested you in a way I'd never been tested before, because it's length, like you're there for, it's the longevity of it.
Yeah.
And you're tested mentally over a long period of time, and it's enough to really grind you right down. And I think that, and you add in cold and hungry and wet for lengthy periods of time, and yeah, it's definitely one of those you come out going, if I can do that, I can do anything.
Kind of shows, was it? I was watching Celebrity SAS with Tony Bellew and that on it, wasn't it?
Oh, actually, I think I watched one episode of that. It was who's the guy that wrote the books? Ant Middleton. Is it Ant Middleton?
Ant Middleton, yeah.
Yeah. I think, and Tony Bellew was great in those, wasn't it? It showed a completely different side of his character.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to confess, I didn't watch it. So.
What? How could you not watch it with Tony Bellew? That's the only reason I watched it was Tony Bellew was in there.
He's a wicked guy, isn't he? When I was in the bubble, I was such a fangirl. I was like trying to get a picture of him in the interviews and everything. I was like slyly with my phone camera, like, yoo-hoo.
And did you get one? That's the most
important.
That's $1 million question.
It's like David Diamante. I was like, terribly sorry. Would you mind if he was like, nah, take a picture. It's fine. And then I was like, would you mind saying my name for me? It's like, no.
His voice is amazing.
The third time I asked, he was like, okay, you need to chill out.
Do you think he's going to be the takeover from Michael Buffer, isn't he? His voice is crazy.
I promised David Diamante I will visit his shop in New York. He's got a cigar shop.
Oh, excellent.
I tweeted him a couple of years ago and I said, I promise. Obviously, then COVID hit. So COVID hit again. COVID. So it's like, all I want was a bloody cigar with Diamante. To
be fair, I had a right, like everyone, the bubble experience was like very, very different. It was quite draining on your mental health, like in that hotel room. But when we were out of it, like, I had a right crack. That Joseph Laws was there. He was a funny guy. As I say, David Diamante, like, was an excellent dude. And or even all like the security staff and that, they knew I was getting really bored in my room, and they were like, come down to security, it's fine.
Looked after you.
Rubbing shoulders with a top brass.
This is it. Yeah, got to get yourself out there. Well, I suppose, Bec, thank you very much for coming on. We better let you go and have your healthy salad and glass of water that you were telling
me.
That's what I'm up for, a salad and water.
That's what we heard, yeah.
Quinoa.
Yeah, the quinoa. I always called that quinoa.
Yeah, so did I just
quinoa. What's quinoa? And so I went, quinoa. I was like, oh, that sounds ridiculous. It's spelled quinoa. But anyway, yeah, that's my English for you. But it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. And I hope...
thanks for your time, Bec.
Yeah,
you're very welcome.
Absolutely. And I hope that Eddie Hearn does watch this and gets you some fights. And
that'd be great. Let's go, Eddie. I'm your girl. Let's do it.
Get you on there. So we'll make sure we tag him into every single tweet when we promote this to get it out there.
And we'll tag Ebony.
Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, and Ebony. Yeah, we'll tag and Carly. We'll tag them all in. But thank you very much for joining us.
Excellent. Yeah, I do think the Ebony Bridges fight is a good fight to have, and the Ramla Ali fight, actually, I really wanted that one. I think that would be entertaining for everyone.
I love that Ramla Ali. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Fine.
Well, if you put together a wish list, we'll put them in the tweet. There you go.
Yeah. Girls, these are my wishes. Come fight.
We'll say enjoy your kebab, enjoy your Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah.
3 bottles of Prosecco.
Double. Is it half pounder?
Oh, it's Friday, lads.
35, 4 pints of Stella and a bag of salt and vinegar.
I don't know how I go on the Stella, mind. Could be interesting, couldn't it?
Give it a go. You're not in camp at the minute. Make the most of it. Not come out as a heavyweight, you know. But yeah. But thank you very much, Bec. It's been absolutely brilliant chatting to you. Super entertaining. And
you're very welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
And enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, you too.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.